Hello to all my fellow work in progress people. Welcome to Runtime Cognition. So, today I'm gonna practice JavaScript, and this is not a tutorial, it's just like a quick revision for me and kind of communication and confidence building so that I don't end up panicking in the interview. So, today I will be studying the basic fundamentals of JavaScript. Let's see how it goes. Okay, let's get started. Live. Yes, study mode is on. Okay, the first question, can you explain the difference between where, let and const? Okay. Okay. You can also pause the stream and try to answer for yourself. This kind of, as I told you, builds confidence in speaking out loud, thinking out loud, so that you don't end up panicking in the interview. Okay. Now I'm gonna answer my. Okay, I hope it is good. Why isn't it converting into text here? Let me try to open the new thing. Just a second. Hey, are you listening? Okay, I think it's working. I hope this works this time. Okay. So difference between variable, let and const. So all of them are used to declare variables in JavaScript. First thing that comes to my mind is that where is function scoped and let and const both are block scoped. So whenever we try to a- and all of them are hoisted, I mean it is a thing in JavaScript where all the function and variable declarations are moved to top of their scope. So when we try to access variable, it gives undefined, but if we try to access let and const before they are declared, then it would throw some error. And coming to redeclaration and reassignment stuff, variable can be, I mean, like if we declare a variable using var keyword, then both redeclaration and reassignment is possible. But when it comes to let, only redeclaration and not reassignment is possible. And when it comes to const, as the name itself suggests, const means both redeclaration and reassignment is not possible. Okay, let's see. Great, it's working. Good recall. Thank you for someone brushing up after a break. Yeah. Okay, what I got right? All three are used to declare variables. Yeah, the basic stuff. Where keyword is function scoped. Exactly. Let and const are block scoped. Okay, where keyword can be redeclared and reassigned. Const cannot be redeclared or reassigned. Let and const cannot be accessed before initialization. Okay, this is the way to put it. Let and const cannot be accessed before initialization, because they will be in TDZ. I didn't tell that though. Okay, temporal dead zone. Okay, what are the corrections? You mixed up let only redeclaration and not reassignment is possible. Is it wrong? It should be exactly the opposite. Oh, okay. Redeclaration not allowed, but reassignment is allowed. Okay, redeclaration meaning. Okay, okay. Oh, this is one of the most common interview mistakes, so it's worth remembering carefully. Okay, let me try this one. Exactly. So, meaning redeclaration is not possible, but I can reassign any values. Now it shouldn't be an error. Yeah, I mean, like if I console log. Come on, yaar. Age. Okay. This is what happens when I don't code in months. Okay, it's working. Okay, so I said ulta exactly. So reassignment of the values is possible, but not redeclaration. It ends up in syntax error. Okay, great. Small correction about hoisting. All functions and variables declarations are moved to the top of their scope. This is also wrong. This is a common way to explain hoisting and it's acceptable in interviews, but slightly a more accurate explanation is what? During the creation phase of the execution, JavaScript allocates the memory for declarations before executing the code. Oh, so instead of saying the code is physically moved, it's better to think of it as a memory being allocated first. We will cover hosting in much more depth later. Okay, so what you're saying is that what I said is they will be moved to top of their scope, but instead of that, it is better to say during the phase of creation, during the creation phase of execution, JavaScript allocates the memory for declarations before executing the. Okay, it kind of allocates the memory before declaring the declarations. Okay, so instead of saying the code is physically moved, it's better to think of it as a memory being allocated first. Okay, memory allocation. We will cover, okay, deep explanation. Imagine JavaScript has three different locus for variables, okay? Old ways, yeah, before ES6. Function scoped, it can be redeclared, reassigned, it is hoisted, meaning initialized with undefined. Okay, four things. Function scoped, both redeclared and reassignment is possible. It is, of course, hoisted, meaning the memory is allocated before the execution. Hey, I got it right. And not only memory allocation, but it is also initialized with undefined. Great. So example is, for example, where city Bangalore, where city Mysore, redeclaration. Okay, reassignment is just trying to change the variable value. Okay, console.log city. What is the output? Obviously Delhi. Yeah, okay. Let introduction in ES6 to fix the problem with variable. For characteristics, it is block scoped, it cannot be redeclared but can be reassigned. It is hoisted but remains in TDZ until initialized. Okay, temporal dead zone until it is initialized. Okay. Also introduced in ES6, it is also block scopes. It cannot be redeclared, reassigned. It must be initialized when it is declared. So, oh, okay. Meaning it must be initialized. So, what happens when I don't initialize it? Let me try. I'll just try to console.log. Okay. Type error assignment to constant variable. Okay, what I wanted to try, right? Okay, this is throwing me reassignment thing, but I'm gonna try this last part where it is must be initialized when declared itself. So that is the part I want to try. So meaning, okay, I don't want to initialize it a value at the time of declaration. Now let's see what error am I getting. Okay, this is syntax error itself. Okay, missing initializer in const declaration. Oh, okay. So we are supposed to initialize it here. Okay, and this is reassignment, which is also not possible. Now it shouldn't throw any error. Great. Okay. Okay, but this is type error. This itself is syntax error. Okay. Interview trap. Many people think const person. Okay, this is an object. Key value is name. Okay. Person dot name runtime. They say this should throw an error. Is it? Const an object person dot name. Okay, we are trying to access a member of an object using dot operator and you are trying to change it. But no, it works. Why? Because const protects the reference, not the contents of the object. Okay, because it is an object reference. Okay, const person dot name equals to something console dot log person. Okay, so it's like a reassignment that is also possible, but this is not a load reference itself. I did not get it. What the hell is this here? Person dot name runtime. This should throw an error, but it works. What did it change here? Let me try this. Yeah, it's working now. Person dot name runtime, because it is an object. Okay, then what is the difference here? Because const protects reference, not contents of the. I'm good. What is this? I just did not understand this part. Hey, I just didn't get it. Try to explain me a bit more. Most confusing JavaScript concept. So let's slow down and build the intuition. Okay, imagine we are at a whiteboard. What is variable? When you write let age 22, variable age directly stores the value 22. You can imagine it like this, age 22. Now if you do age equals to 25, so this is reassignment. Since it is let, it is possible. You're simply replacing the value of 22 with 25. Easy, yeah. So when it comes to objects which are different, okay, const person equals to name key value pair. Many beginners imagine person name, okay, but that's not what actually happens. Instead, JavaScript creates the object somewhere in the memory, okay. Address a, name. The variable person doesn't store the object itself, it stores the address or reference to that object. Person address a. Okay, person doesn't store the object itself, not the value itself, but the reference, meaning address to that object. Think of it storing someone's home address, not carrying their entire house in your pocket. Okay, not the value itself, but the address, meaning reference to that value where it is. What does const actually make constant? Okay, you cannot make person point to a different address. It doesn't say you cannot change what's inside the object. Oh, okay. So you cannot make person point to a different address. Yeah, but whatever inside we can change it. So this is allowed. Okay, person.name, you're changing the value which is inside it, it is allowed. Okay. Address did not change. Yeah, it is still pointing to something. Okay. Person A something. After person address A, only the value is changed. Same address, only the contents at that address changed. So JavaScript is happy. I'm also happy. I understood. Now I'll look at this. Person. Okay, we are assigning a different object. I mean, like empty object. Now we are saying forget the address A, point to the brand new object. Yeah, need to do person A to person B. Const says no, you promise this variable would always refer to the same object. That's why you get type error, assignment to a constant variable. Oh, I get it now. I get it. I get it. I get it. Meaning this thing is still okay, but if I try to do person equals to some other object, then I'm supposed to get type error. Correct. Okay, the difference lies in this line and this line. Here we are trying to change the one key name inside that, so it is possible to reassign. But when we are trying to change the person's value itself, it's like go point to this thing now, so this throws in type error. Okay. Array works exactly the same way. Const numbers 1, 2, 3 in memory locations. So there will be numbers and there will be an address X where this array is stored. Now numbers dot push comma 4, it is allowed obviously because you are modifying the array at the same address. But this numbers 5, 6, 7 would require address X to change to address Y, which is not allowed. Is it defined using const? Yes, that's why reassignment should throw type error. Okay. Okay, one interview trick. I will ask you exactly how an interviewer might question. JavaScript const user name John, user.name Alice, console.log user.name. What is the output? So there is an object named user which is declared using const. So but we are not trying to do the reassignment here. It's just we are accessing the name using dot operator and trying to change it, so it will output Alice. What is output? Many people panic and say error because it's no const Alice. Okay, because you changed a property, not the, okay, that is called property, not the reference itself. The one sentence to remember. If you remember only one thing from this explanation, make it this. Const makes the variable reference constant, not the object itself. Yeah, reference, where it is referencing, that would be constant. Const locks the address, not the contents. This is nice. It's like it locks the address, but not the contents. Okay, it's like address of the home, but the contents inside the home, furniture and people, no need to be constant. They can come and go. That single sentence will help you surprising number of JavaScript interview questions. I got it. I got it, yaar. Okay, where was I? This is done. This is done. Interview trap. Okay, after this. Okay, production usage. A common convention is use const by default. Okay, use let only if the value needs to change, and avoid using where in modern JavaScript because its function scope and redeclaration can lead to subtle bugs. Yeah, this makes your intent clear and your code easier to reason about. Okay, production usage. Always use kind of const and use let only if you need it and try to avoid where. Okay, coding examples. Okay, if of true where x equals to 10, console.log x. So if since it is gonna true, it will execute console.log x is equals to 10. Variable ignores the block scope. Oh, scope comes in the picture here because we are trying to console it outside the if block, but yeah, where ignores the block scope, so it will print. Okay, now if of true let. Okay, we are using let here and trying to console it outside the if block, so it should throw some error. And what error? Reference error. Okay, okay, correct, because let is block scoped. Okay. uh, const array 1 comma 2. Okay, array dot push 3. Okay, console dot log 1 2 3. Yeah, because as you told, const locks the address of the array but not the contents. Because you are mutating the array, not reassigning the variable. Yeah. Okay, mutating in the sense changing. Okay, how should someone tell this in the interview? If an interviewer asks the difference between where let const, a solid answer would be where let const are all used to declare the variables in JavaScript. Main differences are scope, hoisting, redeclaration, and reassignment. Whereas function scoped can be redeclared and reassigned and is hoisted with an initial value of undefined. Let and const are block scoped. Let allows reassignment but not redeclaration. This is where I said wrong in the first thing. While const allows neither and must be initialized when declared. Although let and const are also hoisted, they remain in TDZ temporal dead zone until initialized. So accessing them beforehand results in reference error. In modern JavaScript, I generally use const by default and let only when reassignment is needed while avoiding where. Great, nice. Okay, it's time for Notion notes. Where versus let versus const and key points. All are used to declare variables. Fine. Okay. Let's go to Notion and paste it. Make this heading here. And number it properly. Let's give it some color. Purple today. Okay. It's the same again. All are used to declare variables. Oh, first thing is scope. It has function scoped and let and const are block scoped. And variable, both redeclaration reassignment is possible. When it comes to let, reassignment is possible but not the redeclaration. When it comes to const, none of them are possible. And variable, I mean variables declared with where are hoisted and initialized to undefined. And let and const are also hoisted, but they are not hoisted, but they remain in TDZ zone until they are initialized. And const must be initialized. This is the one I always ignore. Today I am clear with this. Const must be initialized during the declaration itself, and const protects the variable references and not the contents or objects of the array. Okay, scope, hoisting, TDZ, redeclaration, reassignment, reference versus value, and yeah, let and const were both introduced in ES6. Mistake saying let allows redeclaration. Yeah, that's what I first did. Thinking const objects are immutable. No, they can be mutable. Saying hoisting means code is physically moved. No. First, the memory thing is allocated before the execution. That's the meaning context of this. Forgetting that const must be initialized. Yeah, this is gold. I think I need to give it in a red. Yes. Quick revision. Function scope, redeclare, reassign. I would love to have a table instead of this one. Let me ask GPT. Okay. Hey, before going to scope, just give that above notion summary in a small table. Okay. And then I will tell you what I remember about the scope. Or else let me tell now itself. So scope, what I what I can recall is, so in JavaScript we have global scope, and there is some window scope. I mean in the browser maybe, and functions scope and blocks scoped, and that's all. Okay. You should do it. You recall the topic first, and now I will fill in the gaps. Okay. Here is the small summary table you asked for. Oh, variable at const. Tables, I love it. Goes to Notion. Okay, function block, hoisted, yes. Before initialization, undefined. Reference error, both reference error. Because, okay. Redeclaration, okay. Must initialize, no, but this is compulsory. This I used to ignore. Okay, avoid when value changes, default choice. Great. Modern usage, meaning production usage. Great. One liner to remember. Old JavaScript, so avoid use when the value needs to be changed constantly. Use by default. Okay. Scope. Scope. Function scope, block scope. That's actually a good starting point. I know I would say you remembered it. Okay. Organize. Okay. Think of scope as where I can access this variable. Okay. Oh, scope defines the visibility and lifetime of a variable. Okay, where I can access visibility and the lifetime of a variable. Imagine you are in a company, some documents are visible to everyone, some are visible only to some department, and some are visible only to a single employee. Okay, variables works the same way. Global scope. Variables declared outside every function or block belong to the global scope. Okay. So here company is a variable which is defined outside the print function. So runtime company, and when you call the function print, runtime cognition, because company is global, so everyone can access it. Think of it as CEO's announcement, everyone in the company can read it. Yeah. Okay, function scope. where behaves differently. Okay, function test, inside that we have a variable x using where keyword. I'm trying to access it outside the function. Okay, reference error, but this is where no, because x exists only inside that function. Think of it as a document inside one employee's cabin. Okay, variable scope is function scope, block scope. Okay, think of it as documentation block scope. Block means inside the. Okay, isn't this x inside this one? Whatever. If for while switch. Okay, block means something inside the parenthesis. So for example loops, or if statements are switch block, etc. So it gives reference error. Where also reference error, I'm surprised. Block scope, the variables dies when the block ends. Where ignores block scope. Isn't this part and that part same, ChatGPT? Are you hallucinating or am I? Function test and some variable, and what is here? If block. Okay. So it's a block. Oh, is it? This surprises many beginners. It is. Because where doesn't care about the blocks, it only cares about the functions. That's one of the main modern JavaScripts before let and const. Okay, main reasons modern JavaScript prefers let and const. Browser window scope. First, let me understand this part here. I want it to be cleared. Paste option is not there. Control V, bro. What is happening? Come on. Okay, this is if block. So they are saying me if I make it a function keyword. Why am I not able to type here? Function, let's say true, and I'm trying to call that function. Isn't that the example that it gave me? Function test, there's a variable and I'm trying to access that variable outside the function. Yeah. Okay. Okay, function name I will give test. Ayyo. City is not defined. Okay, because where ka scope is inside this function. So you mean if I put this here, oh, in that case we need to call it so that it executes. Okay, I understood. So variable is strictly function scoped. So if I try to print it outside, it won't. Got it. Interesting part, where ignores the block scope. Yeah, I just tried that. So because where doesn't care about the blocks, it only cares about the function scope. That's one main reason modern JavaScript prefers let and const. Okay. Browser window scope. Come on. Okay, so they both are same, browser or Windows scope. You mentioned Windows scope, so let's clarify that. Hmm, in browsers, the global object is called window. Okay, what is window in the sense? Like it is a global object in the browsers. For example, where name runtime. Historically, this also became window.name. Okay, okay. Okay, so window is the global object, like an object in the browser. Okay, let age equals to 20, cost city equals to Bangalore. These do not become properties of the window. So while people sometimes say window scope, it's more accurate to talk about the global object in the browser. Okay. So there's a global scope, there's a function A and there's function B. And inside the function A, there's an if block and for block. Okay. A variable can always access the variables from its parent's scope, but a parent cannot access variables inside the child's scope. Okay. Predict the output variable. Okay, this x equals to 1 if there's an if block and console.log x. So this is in the global scope because this is not inside any function or a block, and this is in the block scope. So console.log x, first of all we can try to console log it because where ignores the block scope, and it allows what is this redeclaration as well. So x equals to 2, correct. X variable are actually the same function or global scoped variables. Now compare with let. Okay, let it, this let is in the global scope and there is another let in the block scope. Okay, but since let is block scoped, this x should print 1, and if this thing wasn't there, then it would print some error. I hope I am right this time. Yeah, 1. Okay, now let me test my understanding of this thing. Yeah, but if I take off this line, then there is no global variable, so we are trying to access x which is inside some block, so it should return some error. Yeah, x is not defined, correct. Okay, because the inner x is completely different block scoped a variable. This is where common interview question. Scope determines where a variable is accessible in a program. Okay, JavaScript mainly has global scope, function scope, and block scope. Variables declared outside any function or block are globally accessible. Variables declared with where are function scoped, meaning they are accessible throughout the function in which they are declared. Variables declared with let and const are only block scoped, so they are only accessible within the nearest parenthesis, that block itself. Modern JavaScript always prefers block scope because it prevents accidental variable leakages and makes the code easier to maintain. Got it. Coming to Notion notes, we'll put it in Notion and then we'll do that. Okay, I will. This is topic number 2, also most important. Heading 2, and we kept this previously in purple. Okay, what are you saying? Scope determines where a variable can be accessed. Okay, so types primitive, there is global scope, function scope, block scope. Variable is function scoped. Let and const are block scope. Child scopes can access the parent variables. Parent scopes cannot access the child variables. Interview keywords: global scope, function block, visibility, lexical scope, global object window in the browser. Common mistakes: thinking where is block scope, confusing global scope with the window, forgetting that latent const exists only within the block. Where is block scope? No, where is function scope? So these are my mistakes that I did. Let me make it in red so that I don't repeat. Variables, function scope, okay. Okay, but I need some more clarity regarding what is this lexical scope and these things. Controls. No, we can go and do it here itself. You're doing exactly what your channel promises, recalling what you know and rebuilding your understanding. Okay, if it helps them, I'm happy, but it's helping me as well. Great. Okay, so the part I want to understand is this part. What is this? Hey, explain to me this with a code example, and also you didn't tell me what is lexical scope. I mean, like, what does that mean? But you directly had put it in the notes, yeah. Yeah, you better. Okay, first let's understand the scope with the code example. Suppose we have this let company, okay, and there's a function, and inside that function I'm trying to call the company, okay, and I'm gonna try developer. What is the output? Okay, runtime cognition. Because let is in the global scope, I mean like company, and then we have a function, and inside that we are trying to access. So when JavaScript executes console.log company, do I have a variable called company inside the function? No, yeah, we don't have it. Then it goes one level up, global scope. There it finds let company equals, so it prints it. Reverse it. Okay, there's a function, and we are trying to access the salary after it. Reference salary is not defined. Oh, that is what you mean. Parent can access the child, but child cannot access in the parent scope. So global scope, developer, and salary. Now we are standing outside the function. Yeah. Hey JavaScript, give me salary. It is JavaScript checks global scope. Is there a variable called salary? There isn't. So can it go inside the function to search? No. Functions keep their local variables private. Okay. That's why you get a reference error. Rule to remember, think of it like a house. Living room, bedroom. If you are in the bedroom, you can walk outside the living room as well. If you are in the living room, can you magically access things inside the bedroom without entering it? No. Variables behave exactly the same way. Child scopes can see their parents. Parents cannot see inside their children. Damn, the control always. Now let's understand lexical scope. This sounds scary, but it's actually simple. Lexical means based on where the code is written. Lexical means where it is written, okay, not where it is called, okay. This one is most important JavaScript concept because it's foundation for closures, which we'll study later. Great. Let language, it is in global scope. There is a function called outer, and inside that there is a function called inner. Inside that we are trying to console log language, and in post that we are trying to call it and call this. Okay, what is the output? First line is let language equals to JavaScript. Post that it goes to outer. Inside the outers there is a function and it goes to inner, and then it comes to console.log language. So it checks, is it there in a parent scope? There it is. So it will print JavaScript. Correct. Look at how the code is written. Yeah. Global scope, language, outer, inner. When the inner needs the language, look inside the inner. Go to outer. Go to global scope, found it. Yeah. Okay. First inside, then outer. Yeah, yeah. So it prints JavaScript. Another example. Okay. I shouldn't see the output. Okay, let's see. There is a variable x in the global, and there is an outer function, and there is an inner function, and okay, now what happens? We are calling the outer, it goes inner, and then we are trying to log console.x. Is x here, here, here? It is in the global scope, so it prints 10, and then it is y. Okay, y is not in inner, but it is in outer, so it will print 20, and then z is in inside only, so it should, okay, 10, 20, 30. Okay, visualization. So x is in the global scope, and in the outer we have the y, and in inner we have z. Yeah, so inside inner, can it access z? Yes, it's its own variable. Yeah. Can it access y? Yes, because parent scope. Can it access x? Yes, because it is global scope. I got it this time. Yay! I mean, like, I knew the answer, but I didn't knew like the inner how it works exactly. Now I am pretty clear. Now let's try the opposite. Okay, now I should be able to answer hopefully. Okay, there's a function, and we are calling that function. Okay, go inside it. Let y equals to 20. Function inner, let z equals to 30, and console log z. Okay, this z. Okay, so we are trying to call z. Okay, this is because let is block scoped. I'm confused. It should throw error because trying to access it outside. Yeah, finally, oh my god, right. Can outer access z? No. Because z belongs to only inner function. Yeah, it is only defined in this function. The golden rule. During the interviews, I always remember this sentence. JavaScript resolves variables by looking in the current scope first. Okay, the order is current scope. Okay, and then moving to outward through parent scope until it reaches global scope. Okay, this is what I wanted to understand. I did it. Okay, and it never searches downward into the child scopes from inside to outside. Okay, if you remember just this one sentence, you will understand the scope, lexical scope, and later closures much more easily. Okay, I understood. So first it searches inside, I mean in the current scope, and then in the parent scope, and then in the global scope. I understood. Where the code is written, a function can access its own variables from its parent and global scope. Parent scope cannot access variables declared inside a child scope. Means vice versa is possible. From child to it goes outer. JavaScript searches for variables from the current scope outward and never downward. This is what is most important. One small suggestion for your stream: as we go through JavaScript, let's build one concept on top of the another. Okay. Okay, Ray. Okay, I have one more doubt, GPT. I mean, like, I want some clarity. Hey, okay, so just list in a table, just explain me like what are the types of errors in JavaScript, and what are the differences between type error, reference error, etc., or syntax error, or how many types of errors are there? Oh my god, these many are there. I did not know only. Okay. Invalid JavaScript syntax, the code can't even start executing. Missing parentheses, redeclaring, just syntax problems. Reference error, trying to access a variable that doesn't exist or is not accessible in the scope. Okay, console.log age when age was never declared. Type error is what? This too I am confused. Performing an operation on a value of wrong type. Oh. on a number or assigning to a const. Acha, okay, these are type errors. A range error, a value is outside allowed range, creating an array with an invalid length. URI error, incorrect use of URI encoding decoding functions. Evalu error, rare, related to evalu, mostly historical, never see it. Yeah, I never saw. Rare in modern JavaScript, aggregator modern, multiple errors grouped together. Commonly with promise.any. Promise.any where all the promises reject. Aggregate error. Focus on the first three. Yeah, most common. The JavaScript engines cannot parse your code. It fails before execution even begins. Let equals to 90, let equals to 90. Output syntax error has already been declared. Okay. Another example, if of true. Yeah, this parenthesis is missing. I mean, like this curved bracket. Yeah, unexpected token. Okay. Oh, you said wrong, bro. I said correct. But my doubt is, isn't that I have a silly doubt, but yeah, why not ask GPT? Expected, shouldn't it be like that? Hey, in this example, shouldn't it be syntax error expected a closing curved bracket instead of unexpected token? What do you say? I mean, like, what do you say? Yeah, the closing is missing, so you might expect it, and many JavaScript engines do report something very similar. Instead of expected, why is it throwing? This is my question. The important things to understand is the error type syntax error is standardized, implementation specific. Okay, that's how they implemented. Different JavaScript engines, different wording. Okay. Acha, V8 Google Chrome's engine, syntax error, unexpected token. Firefox might say this one, maybe. Okay. Okay, depends on like on which engine and how it is implemented. Okay, it is expecting, but it encountered something. So this is unexpected token for that. Okay, okay, okay. See, this is where it gone. No, I'm not memorizing. Do you think I'm memorizing now? I'm putting lot of time in understanding. Yeah. What is the error type? Why did it happen? For this code, the ideal answer is okay. This code throws syntax error because if condition is missing a closing parenthesis. Ha ha ha. That's exactly the mindset. Yeah. Okay, thanks for praising me. I will, I will. Okay, now go back to the previous question. Where was I? Okay, reference error. This happens when JavaScript looks for a variable but cannot find it. Okay, console.log name reference error because name is not yet defined. Another example in the scope. Okay, but age is in the function scope. We are trying to access it outside. Reference error. Age is not defined. Okay. Another example, TDZ, console.log a, let a equals to 10. Oh yeah, this one. Reference error cannot access a before the initialization itself. Find or access the variable is okay. If it can't find or access, then it is reference error. If it is like a problem in writing, like then it is like syntax error. Type error is wrong type, value exists, but you are using it incorrectly. Const age equals to 22, age equals to 25. So assignment to constant variable. Const num equals to 10, num to uppercase. Oh, type error. Yeah, because two uppercase should be used on character or string, right? So yeah. Okay, it's not a function. Because numbers don't have two uppercase method. Got it, yeah, got it. Type error. Range error. Let array equals to new of array minus 1. Reference invalid array line. The value is outside the valid range. URI, never heard of it. Decoded URI component. URI malformed. You are rarely encounter. Yeah. Evalu. Almost never asked. Okay. Aggregate error I want to know. When used, multiple asynchronous operations fail together. You mean promise.any and promise.reject A, reject B. Aggregate error. This is more advanced and typically comes up with studying promises. Yeah. Okay, we'll study it later. This code console.log user, let user equals to hoisting. So it's prints undefined. Wrong. It throws reference error because it is not aware here to print undefined. Because let is in TDZ. Okay. Okay, I understood. Yeah, this is not because of the TDZ. It's because the variable doesn't exist at all. Yeah. Okay, easy way to remember. The code itself is invalid. JavaScript can't find the variable. The variable exists, but you are using it incorrectly. The value is outside. Okay. Okay, I just want to put this part in the notes. And these I don't want. I will try to remove this. Okay. Can't we remove this? Okay. Okay, done. Next. Okay, done. What next? Okay, progress, varlet constant done, scope done, lexical, common JavaScript errors done. Next topic is hoisting. Okay, this is probably the most misunderstood topic in JavaScript interviews. And the good news is, since we already called next topic will make much more sense. Yeah. What is hoisting in JavaScript? It can be as little as, okay, anything else you remember? Okay, I'll try to answer this time because last time I learned it right. Okay, so as you corrected me in the previous answer itself, so hoisting in JavaScript is nothing but JavaScript tries to allocate the memory before initializing. Okay, and when it comes to where it does hoist it, and it is initialized with undefined. And when it comes to let and const, they will stay in the TDZ temporal dead zone until they are initialized. So if you try to access them at that point of time, then it throws a reference error. Okay. Yeah, thank you. 8.5. Okay, where is my 1.5 marks? Memory allocation happens before the code execution, where is initialized with undefined, hoisted, TDZ, accessing before throws. Okay, okay, what is missing? I wanted to hear was hoisting happens during the creation phase of the execution context. Okay, hoisting happens during the creation phase of the execution context. This is what separates a beginner answer from the strong. Okay, yaar. Let's understand has from scratch. Imagine JavaScript receives the code console.log a, where a equals to 10 console.log a. Most beginners think JavaScript executes the code line by line. It doesn't. JavaScript goes through two phases: creation phase, memory allocation. So it creates memory like this a undefined. Notices it doesn't assign 10. It only says I know variable named a exists. Phase 2 is execution. So creation means creation phase, execution phase. Two phases. Memory phase. Creation phase of the execution context. Okay, line 2. Creation phase happens. Let age. Does it allocate memory? Yes, but it doesn't initialize it. Think of memory like this: age locked TZ. The variable exists, but JavaScript says you cannot touch it until I execute its declaration. So when execution reaches console.log a, it throws reference it, not because the variable doesn't exist, but it is not initialized it. That's what even I told you. TDZ means time. It's time period. Okay. Imagine this timeline. Creation phase, TDZ starts. Console.log age, reference error. Let age equals to 22. TDZ ends, console.log age. Okay. TDZ is the time between the memory allocation and initialization. Okay, time between the memory allocation and initialization. So what about const? Const log by creation phase pi, it is logged, reference error. Okay, interview trick. What is where function? Okay. X equals most beginners say no 20. Let's understand why. During the creation phase of test, function memory x equals to undefined. Local variable x shadows the global variable. Test. Okay. Allocates 20. Got it. Okay. Reference error because yeah, this local x is in TDZ zone. Even though if global x exists, JavaScript first finds the local because of the lexical scope, current scope, and then the parent, and then the global. Yeah, but it hasn't been initialized yet. It doesn't fall back to the global one. This is a classic interview question. Hoisting is JavaScript behavior during the creation phase of the execution context, where the memory is allocated for variables and function declarations before the code is even executed. Variables declared with where are hoisted and initialized with undefined, while let and const are also hoisted but remain in TDZ until the declaration is executed. Function declarations are fully hoisted, allowing them to be called before their definition itself. Okay. But we will do it next. I know that Notion notes. Okay. Hoisting. This is important actually. And what were my mistakes? Next time I shouldn't repeat this. And I liked one definition of it. Temporal means time thing. Yeah, TDZ, this part. Okay. So what else? What are the other topics? Where latent scope hoisting. So closures promises async await or remaining, right? Okay. Um, it's been in more than an hour, I think so. Let's see. Okay, I will end the stream here. Yeah, it's been an hour. So thanks for joining. Still learning, still here. Keep showing up. See you in runtime log 2.